In the next 20 minutes, we're going to give you exactly the 5 lead sources that will net you the most return on your investment and time. So let's dive right into it, Sharif. So we've been leading teams and we've spent so much money on lead sources in the last, what, it's not 15 plus years. You've been in the business and me 9 plus years. So let's just dive right into it. What do you see agents doing these days and what are they doing wrong? And let's start with that. And I think, at least for me, like, a lot of agents that we've coached in the past, they always ask, what is the best lead source? Where is the best lead source? And they just go and start buying all these shiny objects. And that's a big problem. Don't you agree?
I so agree with that. And I hate to say it because everybody says it over and over again, but starting out your business, you really need to focus on the people you know, right? That is the first lead source, right? So when people join our team, the first thing we do with them is actually take their phone, their personal phone, export that out to a CSV file, import it into our follow up system, right? So they can start calling these people. Because in reality, the highest ROI that you're ever going to get is going to be your past clients and your sphere. There is no debate on that. It only takes you reaching out to these people. And I can tell you, even today, 55% of our business, we closed 175 transactions last year. 55% of that was leads from past clients, referrals, and sphere. So why not tackle that? I'm telling you, that's 55% of our business. It should be even more of yours, right? And your business shouldn't only depend on that, but it is a bulk of what makes up the cleanest ROI that you're going to find.
I agree. I agree. And I get this objection from agents all the time where they tell me, I haven't spoken to my sphere in so long, or, those are a lot of high school friends and I don't know that many people. I just moved to this area recently. What do you say to that?
I'm like, "Are you crazy? You haven't even met the Zillow lead ever. Like, at
Yeah,
least you know this person, and trust is already built with them, right? Conversion's always gonna be higher, and the cost is essentially 0. 0 people. So why wouldn't you call that person, right? You wanna call a complete stranger, out of a phone book or cold dial someone that's actually a FSBO, but you won't talk to someone that you've known for a few years, right? That to me is just craziness. I mean, it's probably some of the easiest people you're going to talk to are people that you've actually been friends with in the past, people that you went to high school with, because there's already a connection there, right? It's not just grasping at someone that you don't know at all. So building that bond and relationship becomes an easier, process when you're working with past clients and your sphere and families and friends, right?
I agree. And a lot of people give up too soon, especially if they don't get an immediate yes or an immediate yes, I'm looking to buy or sell. But it's a nurture game at the end of the day. It's not like you call them once and you forget it. You have to consistently reach out. We have a rule, it's 4 times a year, especially during our client events, right? And I know you do the same, Sharif, and just provide them something of value so you're not so salesy every time you reach out to them. You got to come up with some sort of value where you're inviting them to something or providing them an update about the market or about the area that they live in. So this way you're not coming out so salesy when you are speaking with them.
I mean, you're right. I mean, it's consistent follow up, right? And, just providing value, and really providing education based touch points, right? So we have an email automation that actually goes out to our sphere and past clients. And it's not to overwhelm them. It's just to provide advice. Say if they were interested in investing in real estate or a cool podcast that we might have, heard recently. Those are the type of topics that we're sending to them. And you're right. I mean, those quarterly client appreciation events are an amazing touch point to contact your sphere and past clients, and it should be a rule of thumb that you should be doing it on a quarterly basis. And really just being in touch with these people, you might not actually, transact with that person themselves, but they might refer you to someone else. So your past clients and your sphere and your family and friends ultimately become your sales force, right? They're selling you now so that you can sell real estate and your services. So really capitalizing on that. I mean, I can tell you just yesterday, I got a phone call from a past client, really just gave me a call so that he can put me on three-way with a friend of his that wants to sell his house. Now, I didn't pay anything for that, right? And this is a past client that's actually never attended any of our client events, but we still reach out on a quarterly basis. And it's about being top of mind and also just letting them know that I'm here for you anytime you need anything or anyone you know needs anything. So that's, I mean, I can tell you it just happened to me yesterday, right? And we'll most likely be listing a property for about 550 off of that. So if you think about it, I mean, that right there is great ROI. It didn't cost me anything to keep in touch with somebody. And now that's going to bring us back like 15,000 or more in commissions just by nurturing that connection, nurturing that relationship and keeping in touch.
It's a relationship business, people. So that's what you got to remember. It's not about how much leads can I buy every single day, because guess what? The lead cost will continue to go up every single day as well. And it's never going to go down. And the commission is not going up as much as how much the cost is, especially how how competitive it is to buy leads. And you're competing with so many other big players like Zillow, for example. They're doing the same thing. Zillow is essentially Google ads that are being called by the Zillow agents or the Zillow ISAs, and they send them over and transfer them over to you. So it's the same exact thing, but you're competing against the giants, and that's why the cost keeps going up. So yeah, you have the gold already in your database. Just continue to follow up and reach out.
That's what people don't understand. The cheapest leads that you have are the ones that you know that already know your name, right? So just tackling that and how you opened it up, Peter, I have agents too that are hesitant on calling people that they haven't spoken to in a while. And really, once you get over that hump, you'd be surprised at how many people will actually react positively for you reaching out to them. So just make the effort, right? And be consistent about it. And it's not the only thing, right? That's our first lead source. We talk about number two right now. It's another low cost lead source. We're talking about geographic farming with authority, right? This could be anything from door knocking to circle dialing to mailers and just really, getting into the local area and dominating it, right? So it's all about trying to get more traction so people start to recognize your name as well. So you got to understand also that momentum will compound over time. So don't feel like you did, one round of door knocking and you expected, immediate results. It might take a few times of doing that. And then people starting to talk about, seeing you, recognizing your name, but that's going to build up business.
Agree. Just to participate in local events as much as you can, and that's something that I see also a lot of people are not doing. If they're having a farmers market or some sort of street fair, if you're able to have a table there, that's also great. But as much as possible, try to connect with all your neighbors. And if you do have kids or if you don't have kids, try to join some sort of community, a club, a gym in that area, and just talk to people around that area too. Like, you can't do business if you're a secret agent in this industry. Everybody needs to know that you exist and you do business on consistent basis. And there's not one way to do it. You have to do it in multiple ways, because some people are on social media. I would say most people are on social media, but some people don't go on social media as much. Maybe some people are just more old school, where they more either in clubs, golf clubs, gyms, whatever the case is. You have to connect with people as much as possible, and you have to be personable, right? And that's how you're able to do business, because as you guys know, and we've said this so many times, people do business with people that they like and trust.
Definitely. Definitely all about like and trust. And, just going back to like, this the farming of your local neighborhood, it's really not that hard. I mean, and it could be low cost for you as well. All you got to do is, you can use a magic buyer letter if you're prospecting sellers. If you need a copy of that, we'd be able to share that with you so you can have a template. And really just it costs you as much as printing and then mailing the actual envelope. So these are low cost things that you can do that, instead of putting money into those, big box lead sources like Zillow or Realtor, you can do it yourself, right? And you can find those people, actually nurture them and build those relationships. And then, just utilizing, different tools like you had mentioned, Peter. There's mailing, there's circle dialing, there's door knocking. There's so much involved that you could be doing in your local area. Hell, and those community, events. We actually have a lead source within our CRM called community events because we like to take part in these events and we're always meeting, at least a handful of people at every one of them. And there's an actual lead source in our CRM because of that. So, those are low cost. That helps you get your name out there. You start to build relationships with people within the local network. And, that will translate to business later on. So definitely don't ever sweat on like, fall back on those type of events because they bring so much to you.
I just remember too, and I know you do really well with this, more than I do, but Facebook Marketplace, not Facebook Market, for Facebook groups, right? The local neighborhood groups. You've gotten multiple referrals from there, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. I've gotten listings. I've actually, in the past, I picked up a for sale by owner that saw me posting just our activity of production on these local groups. And I've actually picked up also agents to join our team because they like the way that we're actually marketing to the local community as well. It's one of my pitch points that I also tell sellers is we go above and beyond when marketing your home. It's not going to be just the MLS, which every agent has access to, but we'll also, post it not only on our local business page, but the local groups within the community because that's a great way to pick up leads. I mean, even just posting a listing you have or your brokerage has. Remember, if you're part of a brokerage, you are allowed to advertise any brokerage listing. And taking one of those listings and actually posting it to the marketplace or one of those social media groups could bring you in a bunch of people that are just thinking about buying or selling. And really, a lead, all it is a person's, contact information and intent, right? So that's what you need to do is build up on those people that have contact information and some type of intent. And now you're just playing the consistent game of nurturing.
And please, please do not do this mistake when you are posting a listing on any social media platform or anywhere. Make sure you're not posting the Zillow link of that listing. You need to have a landing page from your website that captures the information if somebody's interested in that specific listing. I see so many agents, especially when they have a new listing, they try to advertise it or have an open house. They will post it on their social media and then they'll just either put the Zillow link to it or the MLS link to it. I'm like, there's no lead capture in this whole process. So like, what are you doing? You're sending people to a landing page where Zillow is the one that's going to benefit, not you.
Yeah, you're basically helping the beast sell
Yeah.
leads back to you, right?
Right.
So you don't want to be doing that. And it's okay to leave out certain information like the address or price because that gives the person excuse actually to reach out to you. Your best bet is probably to like, put in some basic information about the bedrooms, bath, size of the home, what town it's in, and let the people ask you the rest of the questions, right? We want to force that interaction between you and potential people out there that might be interested in that property. So that is the reason why. And I get people that ask us all the time, how come you don't put the price? How come you don't put the address? Because I want them to contact me, right? I want to know who's actually interested. The problem is when you put like the MLS link or a Zillow link, it's instant gratification. They click that link, they go to that place. And now if they want to actually contact someone about it, they're forced to actually click the button through Zillow, which is going to get them a local agent that's paying for the leads. So that's not going to benefit you. You really want to think about ways that you can talk to more people. And that being the second lead source. Now getting into the third one, I've been told in the past, we've had multiple coaches, we've shared as well, Peter, that have said open houses are one of the best ROI. And if you do it right and strategically, you can actually pick up a whole bunch of people either buying or selling. I to promise you, open houses will bring you listings. We get it all the time. But imagine like you're sitting in a location where you're selling the product, right? You're in the product itself and you have customers walking into the door, right? You're instantly building that face to face trust. We spend hours on the phone just to book appointments to get face to face. But now you have an actual venue where people are walking in to meet with you face to face. So you get basically immediate follow up opportunities because once you meet them, now you have an excuse to follow up the same day or the day after to ask them of how they like that open house, what their plans are for buying and selling, and actually start building on that conversation. Now, if you have the opportunity, do an open house every single day. Yes, every single day. What are you doing with your time anyway? I mean, if you have stuff to do, administrative stuff, phone calls, bring your laptop and that stuff to the open house and do it from there, right? It's just a location for you to actually do that, but now you have the opportunity to meet people walking in a door.
So good. And not just that, like you gotta make sure that you capture their information. And I think you did mention that, Sharif. You make sure that they're, what I would like to do is have maybe a QR code that they can scan and automatically have their information imported into our CRM. But what I see a lot of agents do is they leave a bunch of business cards on the table and thinking just by giving people their business card, they're going to reach out, which rarely ever happens, right? Just by giving out your business card doesn't mean that that's going to do anything. Like, also, that's one of the common mistakes that I always see real estate agents do and ask me. Like, hey, they're so like hungry to just get business cards, business cards. I want to get business cards. And I'm like, why? Like, I want to go around my neighborhood and just give people my business cards, and I'm like, but that's not going to do anything. People are not going to call you just because you gave them your business cards. Do you actually keep any business cards that you get? Because I don't.
Really, I have a stack of them like sitting in like a pouch on my desk, and I mean to go back and look at them and add them to the CRM, but it's difficult, right? Like I
Yeah.
just never get to it. And you're right, Peter, if you're not capturing that information, you got to think about it. Like open houses, yes, we do it for a purpose. We're trying to get more activity for the property for a seller, but they're not just about that house themselves. It's about the next deal, right? The next deal you can get out of that. So without the contact information, it's hard for you to get that next deal because you have no one to talk to about it. And taking this as like lead source number three, you got to put out enough signs, right? You got to put enough signs to get the activity to the open house. And you can use that open house as an excuse to go back to lead source number two, door knocking the neighbors, right? And inviting them to the open house. Now you have an excuse. You have an excuse to door knock that's more comfortable. Hey, just want to let you know there's a home right down the street that's for sale. Wasn't sure if you're aware of it. Would you know anyone that might be interested in buying it? Or would you be interested in possibly knowing how that affects your home's value? Easy lines that you can just spin off of an open house and you have the excuse right there in your backyard. So there's multiple ways to actually use an open house to your advantage. But if you don't have the lead flow or the database of leads, it's a great database filler, right? It's a great way to get out there, talk to people, get them in your database so you can follow up with them.
Yeah, and again, like going back to open houses and open house signs, like the whole idea behind the signs is to get as much traffic, and also it's almost like a free billboard at this point, and letting people know that you're doing an open house. The more that they see, the brokerage name, your team name, yourself as well, and then especially if you're going to be doing multiple open houses in a specific area, you're going to be reminded, right? Because let's just face it, and I know some of you don't know how marketing works. People don't typically act when they see something just once, right? It typically needs to be like at least 7 times before it starts registering in their mind, and they start recognizing what that brand is. And that's why retargeting. A lot of people focus a lot on retargeting, and they want to make sure that they see the same thing over and over again. But that's exactly it. But the problem is most people just give up by doing it once or twice, and they don't see any results, and they think, oh, like this doesn't work. I'd rather spend my time doing something else. So just make sure that you're consistent enough, and you got to do it a lot of times for you to be reminded or remembered in that specific area. And going back to open houses and going back to the previous point where you're door knocking your neighborhood and making sure that you have local authority is is to make sure that you do open houses even if it's not your listing, right? Like Sharif said, like any the brokerage listing. But let's say if you don't have your broker doesn't have a listing in your neighborhood, you can still door knock around that specific listing and let them know that there was a home that went up on the market, to see if they knew about it and how it will affect their home value when it does sell, right? So just don't be so fixated. They got to be creative on how to generate business. There's so many other ways that you can do it, but you just have to get off your butt and actually go out there and meet people.
For sure, for sure. And really, it's going to help you become that local authority. When more people are seeing you at these open houses, that's going to help with that, right? And we said it in the beginning. It's not about doing one of these. If you do all of these, right, it's going to help you build your business. And another good way to build your local authority is to do this: actually shoot content, right? And don't be afraid what other people are telling you, right? Some people out there are just afraid to post content. And I can tell you, I was the same in the beginning, but you just got to do it, right? You just got to start the process and don't worry what others are saying. Some people will tell you that, hey, instead of shooting content, you should be selling more houses. How do you know that the content is not leading to me selling houses, right? And those are the people that are most likely are going to be jealous of you and they want what you have, right? So put that to the back and just do it, right? Just shoot the content, put the content out there. It might not even be videos. It might just be social media posts sharing actual value with your actual friends and family that you have on social, or even taking that content and going back to what we spoke about before and posting it to your local groups. It's going to build local authority, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise.
So good. And I have receipts to prove it for you guys that are kind of hesitant of doing it. So many times I've gone on listings, and I know Sharif did as well, where they say, "Oh, I've watched your videos before you came in. I feel like I already know you." Or they sometimes even quote certain lines from certain videos that I had posted. And I'm like, this is insane. Like, for somebody to quote a certain line in a video that I posted, and not even like recently, it just tells me like this person spent like probably an hour scrolling on my social media page, my YouTube videos, looking to see what I see and how I can connect with them. Right. And this is what we're talking about here, why videos work and why social media works. It's not going to work right away. It does help nurturing your clients, also the ones that you've done business with and your sphere. Because I'll tell you right now, my first year, I closed 10 transactions. Eight of them came from social media. My second year, also 70% of them came from social media. And it was all Sphere, and it was all mostly consistently posting content. And now I'm getting also people that are coming to look to join our team also from social media, right? Whoever is saying that to you, saying that social media doesn't work and stop being a movie star and focus on selling more real estate, tell them to go kick rocks.
Seriously, and I did, trust me. So, and you're right, Peter, that's why it works, right? Because you're building trust before they even call or meet you, right? They're getting to know you more by watching what you're posting, if it's videos or content. You're building that, and that shortens the trust cycle. So you're getting that trust built with that person quicker than anyone else out there. And it builds authority on a scale if you do it through social or any one of those social media groups. Now, instead of say you're picking up the phone and you're calling just one person, now you're posting and you have a potential of thousands of people actually seeing it. And as long as you do it consistently, like everything else that we spoke about, it'll compound over time, right? And different things that you can do is posting local data, market, or even education that entertains, right? Those are just different content ideas that you can actually throw out there, because also understand that the content itself won't replace those conversations. It just makes them easier to have once you get the person face to face or on the phone.
I agree. I agree. It does help a lot, and it's a very powerful tool. I mean, think about it. One video can reach, and it doesn't have to be thousands of views or millions of views. Even if it reaches a couple of hundred people, like how long will it take you to door knock a couple of hundred people, or even 100 at this point? And now, if your content is good, it's going to be shared to other people, and this is really like what you want here. If your content is good enough to be shared with other people and they share it with their friends and family member, and now you're getting into their SOI as well. And this is the gold right here. And some of this content, especially if it's YouTube is a search engine. It's going to live there forever. When somebody searches, what's good about X, Y, and Z area, like, and your video comes up, it just makes you more relatable. And it also shows that you're the local expert and they most likely want to do business with you.
Sure, for sure. I mean, that's what we focus on for lead source number 4. Going into lead source number 5, we already touched on this, earlier in this podcast. But one of the, easiest things to do, one of the most cost-effective things to do, and one of the things that people sleep on the most is email marketing, right? And really, it's something that we dove into in the past, I want to say 6 months to the year into a year, and really have developed it more and more and starting to see a lot of more results from email marketing. I know you do the same, Peter, but we draft an email for our team on a weekly basis to send out to their database. And each person is getting a couple of replies to each email. Imagine that. You got people that are sitting stagnant in your database, and what you're doing is you're shaking it up on a weekly basis for with a value packed email, right? And you already have the people in your database. Now you can control the channel, right? So you're just pointing them in the direction of what you want them to see. So really no algorithm can take that away from you. This is you mailing your database, right? Doesn't matter how many times that you're posting a day, doesn't matter what, content you're putting on social media. This is a value packed email that you can send to to your sphere, your database, to everyone you know once a week and just basically shake it up and see who's replying back. Who are the people you need to talk to?
Yeah, I mean, we spent over six figures in coaching last year, and one of the biggest things that they kept on emphasizing last year was email marketing. So we're just giving you over six figures worth of value right now, especially about this email marketing because most people are sleeping on it. And our coach John Sheplak always says this: email is an ATM machine if you use it correctly, but you got to make sure that you're not spamming people, and you have to be a good copywriter and, AI tools can definitely help with that. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you just have to make sure that you have a very good subject line that intrigues curiosity. And you got to make sure that your email is also valuable to them based on what they're looking for. Do not load it with so many heavy images or links because email servers at this point are cracking down on that. And your email will definitely go into spam. So just be very simple, plain text, and make sure that you add as much value as possible with some sort of call to action at the end of the email. And more than anything, you got to make sure that you're tracking your open rate. If you're above 40% open rate, then you're doing amazing. Don't start blasting 1,000 people all of a sudden. If you didn't do email, you got to start ramping it up. And there's a whole science behind it. Like we can have a whole dedicated podcast for email, how to send proper emails and how to get your open rate up. But, you got to start small, 25 emails a day and ramp it up. But the biggest thing that I will say is just make sure that you're not loading a lot of content, heavy things into the email, like images or links, because that will end up getting it to go to spam.
Yeah, but you definitely want to email your database, right? Value packed, content, because if you're not emailing your database, you're invisible to your database, right? The whole point is to be top of mind. Everything that we do is to ensure that we're top of mind, right? I don't care if it's from contacting your sphere, doing open houses, door knocking, mailers, cold calling, anything that you're doing, any attempt that you're doing is to keep yourself top of mind with people, right? Potential customers, potential people that would actually refer you. So don't be invisible, right? Don't be the secret agent. It's not going to benefit your business. You got to be the agent that is well known, right? And that could be, just for anyone. You just want to be out there so that you are the person that is the go to when the time is right.
So good. So much value in this podcast, guys. Just, I know it's a lot, but this is what I want you guys to do at the end of this podcast because if you get overwhelmed with like, oh, where do I start? This is so many things that I need to do. Start by doing one thing consistently and then add another right after that, right? I would just start with doing the SOI, calling your SOI and making sure that you reach out to them, and then start adding the open house and add everything else. But let's face it, majority of the people that are listening are not that busy. So you can most likely do everything. But if you are busy and you're consistently closing 30 plus transactions a year, then make sure that your systems are refined. And you're probably going to be at the point where you can maybe hire an assistant or something that can help you with that. But you got to make sure that you take action immediately. Don't start and try to figure out, oh, how do I make this perfect email or perfect this or perfect that? the biggest thing and how I see most people win in life overall is that they immediately take action on certain things and not wait for it to be perfect, because perfectionists are usually people that just delay things and they end up not doing much at all. So hope you like this content. If you do like it, make sure that you subscribe, like, and share, and follow our Facebook group page, which we're going to post below. And stay tuned for the next one.
Yes. Have a great day.